There's a silence before the storm, a moment between night and morning where the world is still but your mind isn't. You feel it, the tension, the possibility, the quiet electricity that hums beneath your skin. Before a single candle moves, your heart is already trading. Your thoughts are already chasing. Your fears are already whispering. This is the battlefield before the market even opens. And in that silence, one truth remains. You are your first trade. Because what you bring into the market is what the market will give back to you. Welcome to Mind Over Markets, where we don't just talk about charts, we talk about the mind behind them. We talk about awareness, emotion, and discipline, the invisible skills that shape every decision you make. Today's reflection, pre-market and the first 15 minutes, state management, trading psychology, and trader discipline. Let's begin. You wake up before the sun rises. The city is still quiet, but inside your mind, the noise has already started. You think about the charts, about yesterday's missed trade, about what could happen today, and before your feet even touch the ground, you're already trading in your head. You check the futures, the news, the sentiment. You scroll through Twitter, Discord, Telegram. You search for confirmation, some signal that today will be different, that today you'll finally catch the move you've been waiting for. But what you don't realize is the market hasn't even opened and it's already controlling you. The pre-market isn't just a time before trading. It's the battlefield before the war. And most traders lose that battle long before the opening bell rings because they wake up reacting, not preparing. They wake up chasing, not aligning. They wake up with noise and call it analysis. You see, your mind is a pattern-making machine. It hates uncertainty. So when you wake up and see a green candle, it creates a story. This is gonna pump. When you see a red candle, it creates another story. I should short before it's too late. But both stories are lies. Not because the analysis is wrong, but because it's not your analysis anymore. It's your dopamine talking. The moment you open your screen, your brain releases dopamine, not because you're making money, but because you're anticipating it. That's what fuels FOMO. That's what fuels overtrading. That's why you feel the urge to just do something. It's not discipline you lack, it's awareness. So before the market opens, you need to ask yourself one question. What state of mind am I bringing into the market today? Not what's the setup, not what's the news, not what's the bias, but what is my state? If your mind is tense, the market will look volatile. If your mind is fearful, you'll see threats everywhere. If your mind is greedy, every green candle will look like a missed opportunity. The chart is never objective. It's filtered through your state. And your state determines how you see the market, not the other way around. That's why the greatest traders don't just have a trading plan. They have a state management plan. They know before I manage risk, I must manage myself. So here's a ritual, not a system, a ritual. Before the market opens, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No chart, no phone, no alerts, just you and your breath. Observe the impulses, feel the urge to check something. Notice the thoughts that try to predict the future. Let them rise and let them pass. You're not trying to be emotionless. You're learning to see the emotion before it becomes a decision. Because when you see it, you separate from it. And that separation is where discipline begins. Most traders believe discipline means control, but that's a lie. You can't control emotion. You can only understand it. Discipline isn't about fighting your impulses. It's about knowing when they arise and choosing not to act on them. That's awareness. That's mastery. When you understand your emotional triggers before the market opens, you neutralize them before they own you. Now let's talk about bias. Every trader has one. Bullish or bearish, it doesn't matter. The danger isn't the bias itself, it's the attachment to being right. Because once you're attached, you'll bend reality to protect your ego. You'll find confirmation everywhere, and you'll call it conviction. That's not conviction, that's self-deception. So every morning before you trade, reset your bias. Write down, this is what I want to see, this is what I expect to see, and then ask, what if I'm wrong? This one question will protect you more than any stop loss ever could, because it prepares your mind for both sides of the market. It tells your ego, you don't have to be right, you just have to trade your edge. Before the market opens, don't visualize profits. Visualize your behavior. See yourself waiting for confirmation. See yourself passing on setups that don't meet your plan. See yourself accepting a loss calmly without revenge. That's mental conditioning. That's state management. Your body follows what your mind rehearses. If you rehearse chaos, you'll act chaotic. If you rehearse discipline, you'll act disciplined. Most traders underestimate the pre-market. They think it's about data, about bias, about levels. But it's not. It's about you. The pre-market is where you decide who will show up when the bell rings, the impulsive trader or the patient one, the emotional gambler or the disciplined operator. And that choice isn't made when you click buy or sell. It's made long before, in the silence of the pre-market. So tomorrow morning, before you open your charts, try something different. Don't predict. Prepare. Don't react. Reset. And ask yourself quietly, what version of me is showing up today? Because the truth is simple. You're not trading the market. You're trading your own state of mind. The bell rings. You've been waiting for this sound. You've prepared. You've planned. But in an instant, everything changes. The market comes alive. Candles move fast. Volume spikes. And the calm you built all morning begins to fade. You tell yourself, stay patient. Wait for confirmation. But your pulse quickens. You see price moving without you. You feel the pull, that invisible hand dragging your attention away from logic. You're no longer observing the market, you're inside it. And that's where most traders lose themselves. The first 15 minutes of the session are not about opportunity, they're about temptation. The temptation to act before thinking. The temptation to chase what you missed. The temptation to prove that today you're in control. But control doesn't exist in the first 15 minutes. Only chaos does. And the trader who thrives is not the one who predicts the chaos, but the one who remains still within it. Your nervous system doesn't care about charts. It only cares about survival. When you see a candle shoot up or down, your body doesn't interpret it as data. It interprets it as danger. Your heartbeat rises. Your breathing shortens. Your mind floods with adrenaline and cortisol. That's the body preparing for a fight. But trading isn't a fight. It's observation. And when the body wants to fight, the mind stops thinking. This is what neuroscientists call hyperarousal. It's when your emotional brain, the amygdala, takes control away from your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex. And once that happens, discipline is gone. You're no longer trading your plan. You're trading your emotions. So when people say stay calm, it's not advice. It's survival. Because every impulsive decision you make in those first minutes isn't coming from your system, it's coming from your nervous system. You might think you're analyzing, but what you're really doing is trying to regain certainty. The brain hates uncertainty, so it searches for something to hold on to, a pattern, a candle, a narrative, and it convinces you that action equals control. But that's the trap. Action in the first 15 minutes is almost always emotional. And emotional action has one destination: regret. The best traders do something radical. They do nothing. They watch. They breathe. They let the first 15 minutes unfold like a movie without needing to play the main role. Because they understand the first 15 minutes are not for trading. They're for understanding the tone of the day. They're listening, not predicting. You can tell everything you need to know about a trader by how they behave in those first 15 minutes. Some sit still, detached, alert. Others lean forward, twitching, waiting to click. The difference between those two traders isn't strategy, it's state. The still trader is grounded in awareness. The restless trader is trapped in anticipation. One responds, the other reacts. So when the bell rings, practice a simple ritual. Don't touch the mouse for the first 5 minutes. Just breathe. Let the price dance. Watch it like you'd watch a storm through a window, powerful but distant. If your heartbeat rises, that's okay. If your hand twitches, that's okay too. Just don't act on it. You're not trying to eliminate emotion. You're learning to sit with it, to witness it without obeying it. That's awareness in motion. Every time you resist an impulse, you rewire your brain. You strengthen the pathway that links patience with safety. And slowly your mind learns that waiting is not dangerous. That stillness doesn't mean losing. That observation can be a form of control. This is the essence of trader discipline, not the absence of emotion, but the ability to feel deeply and still act intentionally. Most traders call the first 15 minutes the danger zone, but in truth, it's the mirror zone. It reflects your current relationship with control. It exposes whether you're operating from fear or confidence, from need or awareness. If you can remain conscious during that window, if you can stay grounded while the world moves fast, you're already winning a battle most traders don't even know they're fighting. So the next time the bell rings, don't race to click. Close your eyes. Take one breath. Feel your heartbeat. And remind yourself, I am not here to predict the market. I am here to manage myself. Because your edge is not your system. Your edge is your state. And in the first 15 minutes, the market isn't testing your strategy, it's testing your stability. Remember this, you can't out-analyze your emotions. You can only out-awareness them. So train that awareness every day. Build the muscle of patience. Strengthen the space between impulse and action. Because in that space between what you feel and what you do, that's where mastery lives. The first 15 minutes are not the time to prove your intelligence. They're the time to prove your composure. The market will reward you for being calm long before it rewards you for being clever. So stop trying to win the open. Win the moment instead. Because when you master the first 15 minutes, you master yourself. And once you master yourself, the market becomes just another reflection of your inner world. There's a moment after the storm, after the first 15 minutes, the candles slow down, the adrenaline fades, and you're left with yourself. This is where the real trading begins, not in the noise, but in the silence that follows it. Because trading isn't about predicting moves. It's about managing states over and over again. Every day, the market gives you a new mirror. Sometimes it reflects your discipline. Other times, it reflects your doubt. But the reflection is always true. Let's talk about discipline. Most people think discipline is about control, forcing yourself to follow rules, suppressing emotion, becoming some robotic version of yourself. But that's not real discipline. Real discipline is born from clarity. When you truly understand what you're trying to do, you no longer need to fight yourself to do it. The professional trader doesn't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. Because structure is stronger than emotion. They know that every trade is part of a long series, and no single outcome defines them. They measure progress not by profit, but by how consistently they follow process. That's what separates consistency from chaos. Discipline begins long before you click buy. It starts with a question, who am I when I trade? Because you can't build consistency on top of confusion. If you don't know who's showing up to the chart, the analyst, the gambler, the revenge seeker, then no amount of technical skill will save you. Trading is not about finding the perfect system. It's about building the version of you who can execute it. The professional trader understands something profound, that emotions are not the enemy. They are signals, data from within. Fear means you're attached. Greed means you're expecting. Frustration means you're resisting reality. These emotions don't make you weak, they make you human. But awareness turns that humanity into wisdom. Because when you can feel emotion without obeying it, you shift from being driven by it to learning from it. Think about this. Every losing streak teaches you patience. Every winning streak tests your humility. Every mistake points toward a pattern within yourself. If you can see the lesson beneath the outcome, you're already ahead of 90% of traders, because most people lose twice, once in their account and once in their mind. They refuse to learn. They blame the market. And in doing so, they surrender their power. But you can be different. You can learn to use the market as a mirror, to look at your reactions and say, this isn't about price. This is about me. That's where transformation begins. Professional traders don't chase certainty. They build tolerance for uncertainty. They don't need to know what happens next. They just need to know how they will respond. That's emotional neutrality. It's not the absence of feeling. It's the absence of bias. It's when your mind becomes so stable that a loss doesn't shake your confidence and a win doesn't inflate your ego. You begin to trade in alignment with probability, not personality, and that's the zone where performance lives. You see, trading is not a game of intelligence. It's a game of self-regulation. Everyone can learn the same indicators, read the same books, watch the same charts, but only a few can sit through discomfort without reacting to it. That's the edge that can't be coded, the edge that doesn't decay, the edge that comes from awareness. If you ever want to know where you truly are as a trader, don't look at your P&L. Look at your state recovery time. How long does it take you to return to center after a loss? After a win, after a mistake? A beginner takes hours. An intermediate trader takes minutes. A professional takes seconds. Because the pro understands state recovery is performance recovery, and emotional reset is risk management. Consistency doesn't come from perfection. It comes from restoration. You will make mistakes. You will break rules. You will lose focus. That's inevitable. But every time you return to awareness, every time you choose presence over reaction, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. It's like meditation. The goal isn't to never get distracted. The goal is to notice when you are and return faster each time. That's mastery, not absence of chaos, but resilience within it. So what does a professional trader's discipline look like? It's quiet. It's boring. It's repetitive. They don't chase every move. They don't trade to feel alive. They trade to stay aligned. Their days are simple: plan, execute, review, detach. They journal their state, not just their trades. They ask, what was I feeling before I entered? What belief drove that decision? And most importantly, what did I learn about myself today? Because in this game, self-knowledge compounds faster than capital. At some point, you realize this truth. You're not in a battle with the market. You're in a dialogue with yourself. Every tick, every loss, every hesitation, it's feedback. The market is saying, this is where you lack patience. This is where you seek control. This is where you still trade from fear. If you can listen without ego, the market becomes your greatest teacher. But if you resist the lesson, it will repeat itself over and over until you finally learn. Discipline is not built in the moment you need it. It's built in the moments before, in how you prepare, in how you reset, in how you manage your energy outside the charts. Because the state you live in is the state you'll trade in. You can't live in chaos and trade with clarity. You can't live in fear and trade with confidence. You can't live distracted and expect precision. Your trading doesn't start when the market opens. It starts when you wake up, when you choose your thoughts, when you decide what version of you will sit in that chair today. So ask yourself this: do you want to be the trader who reacts to every candle, or the one who remains centered while everyone else loses control? Do you want to be the trader who lives for the next win, or the one who plays the infinite game, mastering themselves one trade at a time? Because in the end, discipline isn't a skill, it's an identity. And when discipline becomes who you are, you no longer need to force it. It flows naturally because you've become the kind of person who honors structure more than impulse. Trading psychology isn't about fixing yourself. It's about knowing yourself. It's about meeting every part of you, the greedy part, the fearful part, the impatient part, and saying, I see you, but you don't control me. That's the real freedom, not financial freedom, but emotional freedom. The ability to stay calm in an uncertain world, to act with intention in a field ruled by chaos. That's what separates the trader who survives from the trader who evolves. And maybe that's the secret no one tells you. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your level of emotional training. So train it every day. Because when you master your state, the market stops being your enemy and becomes your mirror. And in that reflection, you finally see what you were always trading against, not the market, not the system, but yourself. At some point, you realize something fundamental. You don't need more indicators. You don't need more confirmation signals. You don't even need to improve your discipline. You need alignment. Because trading isn't just what you do. It's a reflection of who you are, moment to moment. The chart doesn't respond to your analysis. It responds to your presence. The more chaotic your inner world, the more chaos you'll find in the market. The calmer you become, the clearer everything else looks. You've spent so long chasing consistency through systems, you forgot it comes from state. Your strategy is the map, but your state of mind, that's the vehicle. You can't reach consistency through inconsistency of being. And you can't trade peace if you never feel it outside the charts. That's why the best traders have routines not just for analysis, but for awareness. When you wake up, your first trade has already begun. Before you open your platform, before you check the news, before you breathe in the day, your thoughts have already placed a position. So start there. The first step of trading isn't the pre-market checklist. It's state check-in. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I centered or am I chasing something? Am I ready to trade what I see or what I want to see? This simple act of observation anchors you before the chaos begins. Then move with intention. Design your pre-market like a ritual, something that grounds you, not stimulates you. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence. Maybe it's journaling your emotional state. Maybe it's writing one line. Today I trade my plan, not my emotion. You don't need a perfect ritual. You just need one that's yours, because rituals are not superstition. They're anchors for the nervous system. They tell your body, I'm safe, I'm centered, I'm in control of my reactions. And a calm body creates a clear mind. As the market opens, the work is not to avoid emotion. It's to remain conscious within it. If you feel excitement, notice it. If you feel fear, breathe through it. If you feel the urge to trade early, pause and let that urge pass like a wave. Every emotion that rises is an opportunity, a signal from your subconscious revealing a pattern. You don't fight it, you witness it. And with time, witnessing becomes wisdom. Throughout the session, your only real goal is to manage your state. Not every candle, not every move, just yourself. The market will test your patience, your ego, your attachment. But each time it does, you get to choose reaction or awareness. Reaction keeps you in the loop. Awareness sets you free. And when the session ends, that's when most traders make another mistake. They think the day is over. They close the platform, but they carry the market with them in their thoughts, in their tension, in their conversations. That's emotional residue, and it quietly destroys the next day's clarity. So learn to close the mental trade. Just like you log out of your charts, log out of your thoughts about trading. Write down what you learned. Forgive yourself for the mistakes. Detach from the result. That's not weakness. That's emotional hygiene. You don't need to hold every trade in your nervous system. You just need to extract the lesson and let the rest go. The more you repeat this, the cycle of prepare, observe, recover, detach, the stronger your inner framework becomes. That's when consistency stops being an effort and becomes an identity. You no longer need to remind yourself to be patient. You are patience. You no longer need to remind yourself to be disciplined. You embody discipline. You no longer need to fight your emotions because you understand them. That's integration. That's mastery. If you ever wonder why this is so hard, remember this. You are not fighting the market. You are unlearning yourself. You are rewiring years of conditioning, fear, greed, control, ego. You are building emotional muscles that most people never develop in a lifetime. That's why this path feels heavy, because it's sacred work. Trading is not just a profession. It's a form of spiritual training disguised as a financial pursuit. It forces you to confront your deepest attachments. It exposes your hidden fears. It challenges your illusions of control. And if you stay long enough, if you keep showing up with honesty, it transforms you. The truth is, the market doesn't make anyone rich. It makes them real. It strips away the noise, the false confidence, the stories you tell yourself, until only awareness remains. That quiet, centered presence that sees clearly, acts consciously, and accepts whatever comes without fear, without pride, without resistance. That's freedom. That's mastery. That's what every trader is truly chasing, even if they don't know it yet. So tomorrow when the market opens, remember this simple sequence. Pause before you predict. Breathe before you act. Observe before you decide. Reflect before you react. And when the day ends, let go. Let go of needing to be right. Let go of what you think you deserve. Let go of today's result, because the market resets every morning, and so should you. You're not just building a trading system, you're building a mental architecture, a way of being that can withstand uncertainty. You're learning to live in alignment with reality, to make peace with randomness, to perform under pressure without losing your inner stillness. That's what separates the professional from the emotional. Not money, not strategy, but state. And when you finally understand that, well, you realize something profound. Every trade, every loss, every mistake, it was never working against you. It was refining you. It was teaching you to surrender control, to trust process, to find calm in the storm. You were never trading markets. You were always trading yourself. And when you master that, everything else aligns. The entries, the exits, the equity curve, the life you live, all of it becomes a reflection of your inner balance. So breathe deeply. Look at the chart one last time and whisper to yourself, I am not here to chase. I am here to align. I am not here to control. I am here to respond. I am not trading for profit. I am trading for mastery. Because once you understand that, you stop seeking the next trade and you start becoming the kind of person for whom consistency is natural, not because the market changed, but because you did. The charts have closed. The numbers have stopped moving. But your mind, it's still trading. You replay every moment, the hesitation, the impulse, the win, the loss. You wonder what could have been different. But maybe the real question is simpler. Who were you while you traded? Because profits come and go. But your state, that's permanent capital. It compounds every day. You stay conscious. You are not here to master the market. You are here to master yourself, to learn the art of being still in uncertainty, to build a mind that performs under pressure. That's the real work. That's the real edge. So as the screen fades, remember, you are the constant. Your state is your system. And the next trade always begins within. Thank you for listening to Mind Over Markets. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to breathe and bring awareness to your next trade. Because the market is not your opponent, it's your mirror, and the reflection is always honest.